Am I the a-hole for not babysitting my ex-husband's kid? My 30 female ex-husband, 32 male, and I have 2 children, 4 male, 2 female. We have been divorced just about 6 months, and he is now expecting a baby with his new girlfriend. I'm admittedly not over him. We were together 10 years, my entire adulthood. It wasn't a messy split, and I'm still bitter and hurt about it, while he seems to have completely moved on somehow. When we had our oldest, neither of us wanted him in daycare. No judgment, we just didn't feel comfortable. So I stayed home and eventually started my own business that allows me to work 99% remotely. My parents are also local and retired and help me out as much as they can. This arrangement works for me, and I get to spend time with both of my kids. Now, ex's girlfriend is 5 months pregnant, and they got in a huge fight because she asked him to tour daycares, and he said absolutely not. He wants her to stay home with a baby, that none of his kids are to go in daycare as admittedly the ones here do suck. He called me to vent and I listened. Then he dropped the bomb. He asked if I would be willing to take care of their baby, since I'm home with our 2 and get help from my parents. And when I have to take the kids to the office, I can, because I own it. He then mentioned that I know how he feels about his kids in one of these daycares. And I sort of lost it on him. It was a year and a half of walled up anger and hurt, and I said some nasty things that I've since apologized for. Fast forward to 3 days later, new girlfriend pulled me to the side when I dropped off my kids to their house and asked why I was so ugly about it, and why I thought my kids were better than hers, and why her baby doesn't deserve the same things mine got. I never said that, but apologized if anything I said came off like that. Told her I'm happy for them, which I'm not, but pleasantries, but was certainly not going to babysit their kid. She's a nurse, so I get she can't work from home and doesn't want to give up her career, but they should have thought about that. I left before it blew up again, but ex called me about 2 hours later and asked me to come get the kids because he and new girlfriend were fighting and he didn't want them around for it. I picked them up, of course, and ex texted me on a drive home and asked, again, if I would babysit for them for $200 per week. I said no, and he called me bitter and said I'm being an a-hole because I'm hurt. I don't see it this way at all. I reiterated that the request is absurd, and I would not be talking about it anymore. This was yesterday, and all day today new girlfriend has been texting me and having her friends and family review bomb my business. I'm not worried about it. My clients know my work. Ex-husband hasn't said anything else but has been shorter with me in our conversations about our kids. So am I the a-hole for refusing to keep my ex-husband's new baby? Now for the top comments before reading the mini updates. Not the a-hole. You are never obligated to take care of someone else's child. Also, if you haven't actually provided services to her and her friends/family, send a cease and desist letter. It can be defamation. 100% on this. It's supremely crappy for her to be entitled about the childcare, but to adversely affect your income this way is criminal. This. X needs to put a stop to this, because affecting OP's income also affects the children they share. Not a-hole. I don't understand how they can possibly expect you to watch their children. This is not your responsibility. Does he know that you're still not over him? Asking because it sounds like he could be using your feelings for him to guilt you into this. Stick with a resounding no. He knows. I made a stupid mistake right after the divorce was final, right around the time he got new girlfriend pregnant. Ouch. And fell for his regret speech. We had sex, and I told him I didn't want this either, and maybe we could work on things. We had been having the start over conversation up until new girl found out she was pregnant, and he finally told me about it 2 months ago. My heart is broken, but logically I know we're done here. I'll get past it. You have no idea how badly I wish I could give you a hug. I'm sorry you're going through this, and that is clearly using your feelings against you. Yes, you made a mistake, but you were/are in love, and that makes us do stupid things. Still doesn't mean you deserve to be taken advantage of. You should stop letting him rant to you about his life. Just discuss the children only, nothing else. And get a cease and desist for girlfriends, friends, and family for trying to ruin your business. Not a-hole. And you should consult a lawyer about the review bombing. Sue them. The thought of being back in a courtroom with my ex and his new girlfriend makes me want to projectile vomit. I'm like 80% sure Google has a resolution for this. It's midnight here now, but I'll be looking at my options tomorrow. I'm more annoyed than anything. Now for the mini updates. Thank you for all the support in the comments. I probably can't reply to all questions, but I will try to answer some as I come across them while I have some free time. A few of the repeat things I've seen addressed below. It looks like Google has flagged the influx of reviews for spam, and I did call my lawyer to see what she recommends going forward. Yes, my ex was cheating with his girlfriend for some time before we divorced. I don't know how long exactly, and I don't think I want to know. I'm also a licensed professional, so going against her nursing license is a surefire way to make this worse. Lawyer will advise on how to proceed. Second and probably final update for now. Google is removing the reviews. Wackadoodle and her idiot family all have the same last name, so it was pretty easy to see the reviews weren't genuine. The ones from her friends with different names were removed too, because again, it was poorly executed at best. X has apologized for her behavior, and apparently he is taking some time away and she thought he was with me. I have no idea where he went after he left my house Tuesday night when the kids went to bed. He certainly is not staying here. We have only spoken to confirm pickup from swim lessons today. My parents had already planned to have the kids this weekend, as X has a graduation to go to and I'm going to the beach with friends. So I don't have to worry about where they're going since X is effectively homeless right now. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not allowing my ex to attend our child's birthday party? I, 34 female, and my ex-husband, 36 male, divorced 2 years ago due to irreconcilable differences. We share custody of our 7-year-old daughter Lily and have managed to maintain a relatively civil co-parenting relationship. However, things recently took a turn for the worse. Last week, Lily turned 8 and I decided to throw her a birthday party at our home. I planned the event meticulously, inviting Lily's friends, our family members, and a few close neighbors. I wanted it to be a special day for her. However, when I sent out the invitation to my ex-husband, I specifically mentioned that he would not be able to bring his girlfriend. Now, my reasoning behind this decision is that my ex-husband has been dating someone new for the past 6 months, and Lily hasn't had much interaction with her. I didn't think it was appropriate to have a stranger present at her birthday party, especially since my ex-husband and I agreed to introduce new partners to Lily gradually. My ex-husband, upon receiving the invitation, immediately called me furious and demanding an explanation. He accused me of trying to exclude him from Lily's life and claimed that he had every right to be there for a special day. He argued that his girlfriend had already met Lily on a few occasions and saw no issue with her attending the party. Naturally, this turned into a heated argument with both of us standing our ground. I firmly stated that I didn't think it was fair to Lily to have a stranger present, regardless of a few brief meetings. My ex-husband insisted that he had just as much right to be there as I did, and accused me of being spiteful and controlling. The argument escalated, and we ended up involving our respective families, who took sides and added fuel to the fire. Some of my family members supported my decision, claiming that Lily's birthday should be about her and her closest loved ones. However, my ex-husband's family argued that he should be allowed to attend, and that his girlfriend was an important part of his life now, and therefore she should be included. We couldn't reach a compromise, and in the end, my ex-husband threatened legal action if I didn't allow him to attend a party. This left me feeling torn between wanting to make Lily happy and not wanting to escalate the situation further. Am I the a-hole for excluding my ex-husband from our daughter's birthday party? Added to answer a few questions. Lily has no opinion. Her only concern is having all of her friends there and making sure the flavor of her cake is up to her standards. As her father and I have 50-50 custody and the birthday parties during my time, I feel like I have a large say in this. Additionally, she has met the girlfriend twice. They haven't exchanged more than a few hellos and she would not be comfortable alone with her. Therefore, I do not feel that it's appropriate to invite her. My ex-husband is free to come. His girlfriend is not. Everybody sucks here. Your daughter is turning 8 and she's not a toddler. She has met the girlfriend and she's old enough to understand that you and your ex are not together, and you both will have other relationships. You don't get to control your ex when it comes to his personal life. He's in the right on the general topic, but he cannot demand to be a guest to your home or to the party. He can choose to come alone or not. Sounds like the two of you are at the dumb point of needing double events for everything that involves your child. When standing your ground with an ex means your child is hurt by the outcome, you're both a-holes. You say your daughter has no opinion, but then say she wouldn't be comfortable with her. Which is it? Comfortable alone with her. She has no opinion regarding having the girlfriend at a party, where there are probably plenty of people, but probably would feel different in a one-on-one situation. Not the a-hole. You invited him, but you are not required to have his new woman in your home. Honestly, if the OP had just been forward, I don't want your girlfriend in my house. He can either go or not. It's her legal time. He's not required to be part of it. She's not even excluding him. She's excluding the girlfriend. But she's the a-hole for trying to make it about the daughter. OP, stand your ground, but don't try to make it seem like your kid cares. You're allowed to not want people in your home. If you aren't comfortable hosting his new girlfriend, own it. Trying to blame it on your daughter isn't right, isn't fair, and isn't helping. You are welcome to come to Lily's party, but I am not comfortable having your new squeeze here. If you would rather have a celebration with Lily on your own, that's fine with me. Divorce is hard enough on kids, but your response is coming off very much like a control need, and it's unnecessary. My ex went through a few girlfriends before his wife, and they never missed an event. I want him happy and present, and frankly, his wife ended up being the best thing to happen to him. Your love for your child needs to be greater than your need to control. This is nonsense to react this way. Your ex is the a-hole for the court threat. Do better, both of you. Everyone sucks here. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my father-in-law that his wife, my mother-in-law, keeps asking us for money? My 33 female and my husband Mateo, 31 male, have been married for 4 months, together for 3 years. When we were dating, his mom used to randomly call him up and ask for money anywhere from $2,000 to $6,000. He told me that she had been doing it for years, but he didn't care because he had a high-paying job and had a disposable income to give her money. Now, my father-in-law is a successful businessman in his city, and I was told that they had joint accounts, so I always found it a bit odd that she asked her son for money. When we got engaged, we discussed his mom's monetary requests, and my husband agreed he would put an end to it, and he did. She stopped calling after he refused to give her money. Last Tuesday, my mother-in-law called and asked my husband for $15,000. She said she needed it for vacation. After he told her no, she sent me a lengthy text message saying that I had no right to get involved in a mother's relationship with her son. I didn't respond. I asked my husband if his parents were having money troubles, and he said that everything is fine as far as he knows. Well, today my father-in-law and sister-in-law, husband's younger sister, came over for lunch. My father-in-law was helping us choose a bottle of wine when I asked him if everything is okay at home. He looked at me confused and asked what I was talking about. That's when my husband told him about her calling us for money. It turns out that my mother-in-law has been secretly asking my husband for money in cash. My father-in-law told us that she was withdrawing cash from the bank last year and told him it was to help pay for our wedding. But she lied. She never gave us a dime. My father-in-law left immediately, and hours later, my mother-in-law called crying, saying that I have a big mouth and ruined her life. My father-in-law wrote us a check to pay us back and is temporarily separated from my mother-in-law until he feels he can trust her again. My husband's maternal relatives are calling us and saying that I'm a giant a-hole. Am I the a-hole for bringing it up to my father-in-law that my mother-in-law is secretly harassing us for money? Edited to add, we were told tonight that she was using the money to buy lavish gifts for her friends and pay the rent. Not a-hole. You're not the one who has been lying and leeching for money. Hope your father-in-law divorces her. Not to mention that mother-in-law is blaming OP for telling father-in-law about the money she was asking for, when it was actually her own son who did it. OP just asked about money problems. Mother-in-law also blamed OP when her son said no to giving her any money. Some mother-in-laws can't get it through their heads that their sons are the ones telling them no without any influence from the daughter-in-law. It's telling that the maternal relatives are now complaining. Chances are she was sending money to them. Not the a-hole. The other replies got this one covered. Mother-in-law is using her husband and son to liquidate funds to give a lavish lifestyle to her buddies? Your edit makes it even more obvious. You busted a gold digger scammer out of concern and love for your husband and his father. Oh no! You're the catalyst for someone to stop doing something they shouldn't. They faced consequences for their actions and now they're big angry. It's natural to feel guilty for upsetting someone and for big life changes to happen to others. But sometimes it's necessary to upset someone and change circumstances. I can be naive sometimes, but even I snorted and went, "Yeah, right," when I read the edit. That's a massive pile of cow poo. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my former father-in-law he can't buy compliance? My ex asked me fairly last minute to change the custody arrangements for the summer. Her father wants to take her and the kids overseas, but the days would overlap with my days. I already have plans made, including some things that have been paid for. Her father called me after I told her no and offered to pay me to change my plans. I still said no. One of the days he wanted me to cede is one of my children's birthday. I have already planned the celebration, and I want this celebration to happen. He said they will celebrate the birthday on the trip and it will be more fun for everyone. He also said I could use the money to do something cool with the kids. I still said no. My ex told the kids about the trip and some of them want to go and are upset with me. The older understand and are fine with the plans remaining, but I think the younger kids just can't see the big picture. I just hate disappointing them. Am I being an a-hole? Not a-hole. Why can't ex and her father change their plans? Probably because it's last minute, which is still not OP's problem. Not a-hole. So she planned bad, but expects OP to change his plans, and then told the kids about it when OP said no, which is unacceptable. Not a-hole. It was really crappy of your ex-father-in-law to tell the kids about the trip before having permission, so they'd be disappointed. It's also crap of your ex and father-in-law to plan a trip during your days, and during one of your kids' birthdays. They can take the trip on their days. They need to realize it's not about the money. If ex-wife and or ex-father-in-law have dual citizenship, they might actually be trying to kidnap the kids and keep them in a country that OP can't get them back from. I'm wondering if this is their plan too. I wouldn't be letting anybody take my kids overseas or even to another state. Would I be the a-hole if I told my child's father to stop trying to establish contact? My child is now 27, so this isn't a minor we're talking about. I got pregnant at 17, and he hung around for about 6 weeks after finding out. We'd been dating for about 9 months by then. So the important details. 1. His family, parents, and siblings refused to acknowledge my child as his. I offered them visitation after, but never got a response. 2. Despite not acknowledging the paternity, his parents began threatening me with taking the baby away, threatening to lie and claim I was unfit, etc. 3. I got a lawyer's advice about enforcing a court order for him to establish both paternity and visitation rights after the threats from his family, due to an increased risk of parental abduction. 4. He only contacted me twice after I had my baby. Once to see if I had a baby, then once to ask if he could take the baby for the weekend the next day. Baby was nearly 3 months old at a time, and he'd never even come by to meet the baby. I told him to establish paternity as he was not on the birth certificate because he was not present at birth, custody rights, and child support. He never contacted me directly again, not once. Over the past 27 years, he ran into a friend of mine and let slip that he'd been keeping a close eye on us, knew where we lived, knew about a haircut my child got the weekend before, and a lot of things he should not have known. So I locked down any social media accounts we had. My child was about 15 at a time. My child has known about bio father since 12, known his name and details since 18, and I have offered to help my child get in touch with him, but my child did not want to. Then about 2 weeks ago, one of his nieces reached out to my child online and wanted a DNA test done and felt confident they were cousins. After my kid and I talked about it a lot, I admitted more of the trauma they put on me during the pregnancy. But I still said, if you want to contact them, you can. They are your family. My kid said absolutely not, reached out, and basically told a cousin that it just was not going to happen. Then we got a bomb that his entire family, 4 siblings, their partners, their kids, and even grandkids, have known about my child the entire 27 years. They talk about my child often, look at photos when they can find any, and basically treat my child as his long-lost but much-wanted child. I, predictably, am the witch who stole the baby from their lives. Now his mom, who was extremely vile towards me during my pregnancy, really regrets not insisting that they have my child in their lives. I even found a baby photo I had sent them 27 years ago on her Facebook. So, would I be the a-hole if I reached out to him and told him to see himself right the hell out of our lives again? And to tell his mom that my child very much wants absolutely nothing to do with them, and that even if my child's mind changes, it will never include Biodad or his mother after everything that went down? 'Cause I kind of just want to drop a house on that witch. Now for the top comments. You would not be the a-hole. Oh my god, Opie. Your baby daddy and his family are insanely toxic and honestly creepy. He ran into a friend of mine and let slip that he'd been keeping a close eye on us, knew where we lived, knew about a haircut my child got the weekend before, and a lot of things he should not have known. This is weird that he just been watching. Now that is out of the way, I have a feeling he has been lying to his family, claiming that you kept your child away from him, when in fact, he almost was never in the child's life, nor do the child want a relationship with him. His family's insane. His mom planned to line call you and fit in order to take your child from you, when her own son only contacted you twice about his kid and never been in their life at all. I have a feeling the spouses/partners and the kids, my kids' cousins and even siblings, apparently there are like 15 of them, don't know what happened. His mother 100% knows how it all went down. While pregnant, I reached out via letter once to let them know how to contact me in case they wanted to be included in my child's life, as my kid was their first grandchild, and then again shortly after my baby was born with a newborn photo and another invitation to contact me and talk if they ever wanted to meet the baby. His parents never responded. It was like a punch in the gut to find out just how much he knew about us. At the time, our accounts were all private online, but I realized there were some things that had been set to public on Facebook. That said, a lot of the things he mentioned were not even posted online, where all of my kids went to school, for instance. We took steps to make sure our lives were even more private after that. For a long time, it felt like we were being watched anywhere we went. Not the a-hole. I wouldn't say you'd be an a-hole. However, I'd say since your child is 27, it's not your place to say anything anymore. Your child is legal adult and has been for nearly a decade. If your son randomly changes his mind one day to get to know the people, you don't have any say in that. Nor should you. You also should not be speaking on your son's behalf. Oh, my kid did reach out to the cousin and said basically that they wanted nothing to do with a family that put their mom through so much trauma. I reached out and talked to the cousin to make sure the cousin knew that I had never denied the dad or his family the right to be in my kid's life. And I let her know that my child would not be happy if other family members decided now was the time to get in touch. My kid was really upset at a conversation with her cousin, not because of the cousin, who was really understanding and respectful of the situation, but because they felt 27 years was way too long to suddenly decide the bio family wanted to be involved. My kid handled it well, but I wanted to just reinforce that my dad and his mother should not take my kid's response as an invitation to suddenly reach out. Mostly, I want to reach out because of the deep anger I thought I had forgotten a long time ago. I'm so angry at the number of memories I had forgotten, at a little ways they inflicted trauma on me that I had not thought about in probably 20 years. This would solely be about me wanting to tell them off for how I was treated and for my kid being good enough to be a story, but never actually a part of the family. I know, it's a complicated mess. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my former stepmother to go F herself? Last week, I was back in my hometown helping a friend take his truck to the dealership. While it was in the shop, we went and got lunch at a pretty popular spot, and we got sat next to my former stepmother and former stepbrother. My ex-stepbro and I don't talk, but he's close with my younger sibling, because for about 8 years they lived together. I was older and really never had a connection with him. But it was me who caught my dad cheating on my mother with my now ex-stepmom when I was 12. A year later, he left us for her, moved a block away into her house. Things sucked for a while. Life was a big slap in the face for a while, and I worked through high school and college to support my mom and brother, because my dad didn't think it was his problem anymore, and my former stepmother encouraged that. Later, my ex-stepmom cheated on my dad and left him. All good in my opinion, as that relationship needed to end. Anyway, she interrupted our meal and asked me how I was. And I looked her in the eye and asked her what the heck she thought she was doing. She said, just saying hi. I looked at her and then my former stepbro and said, hey stepbro, always a pleasure to see you, my friend, as he's a bystander. shook his hand and ignored them. She tapped my arm and said, "What am I, invisible?" And I lost it, to be honest. I looked at her and said, "You can go F yourself. Don't speak to me. I don't want to talk to you. Who the heck do you think you are right now? Why on earth would you ever think I'd want to talk to you now that I don't legally have to?" She said she was just being polite, and I asked her if she was still messing around with married guys. My friend asked for the check and we left. He was cool about it as he remembers what my home life was like. But my brother thinks I was too harsh, and my dad thinks I created drama from nothing. My wife thinks it was embarrassing even though she wasn't there. Personally, I still think she can go F herself. My friend also thought it was extreme even though he was understanding. Ha ha ha, not the a-hole. Tell it like it is. That's how I feel, but after talking to my wife, I really think I should have just been polite and left instead of being explosive. Some people just need those explosives though. Thumbs up. Your wife should understand why and how that reaction is not embarrassing. So we've talked about it a lot since I posted. I think she started to realize, reading some of these responses, that she didn't truly understand how crappy my childhood was. She's come around and now thinks that even though it wasn't ideal, it was more of an expression of a really deep pain that never completely healed, and not some unhinged anger. I think, yes, I sort of gave into some emotions I wasn't really prepared to feel, but I also think healing-wise I'm okay. It's not that I don't talk about it, or that it's some taboo subject within our family, but she grew up in a very stable and loving home, so she has a hard time wrapping her head around it all. Sometimes she underestimates the damage, other times she overestimates it. Little of both this time. So are you in contact with your dad then? He's the one who tore up your family. Don't get me wrong, I think that she's trash too. His dad wasn't present at the time. Ex-stepmother was. Nothing in the post implies that Opie gives dad a free pass. He screwed them over financially, and stepmother encouraged it. In his comment, Opie mentioned that his dad said that he created unnecessary drama. I asked Opie about his relationship with dad, though when that ex-mom knew that she was being ignored, she should have left Opie alone. But she chose to actually tap Opie. She needed to be snapped on. Opie stepped up when his low-life dad stepped down. Next story. Am I the a-hole for trying to dictate who my fiancé will walk with as a groomsman on his best friend's wedding? My fiancé Paul has a best friend Jack. Jack has been with his fiancée Natalie for 7 years, while Paul and I have been together for 6. Natalie always had a weird obsession of hooking up Paul and her sister Mary, and setting them up as a couple. Paul was never interested in Mary, but Natalie and Mary always tried to grab his attention. After Paul and I got together, Natalie would always try to exclude me from every single group gathering, and would even try to set up double dates between her, Jack, Paul, and Mary. Paul wouldn't have it, and set boundaries early on, but neither Mary nor Natalie respected them and kept crossing boundaries. Paul then had to cut them off and only kept contact with Jack. After some years of no contact, Natalie apologized to Paul and me about her behavior, and promised it's all in the past, and that her and Mary acted immaturely, and Mary has moved on as well. As grown adults, we decided to move on, but Paul kept feeling uncomfortable around Mary, because she hadn't completely changed her behavior around him. Anyway, fast forward to the wedding, which is in a couple of months. Jack asked Paul to be his groomsman and Paul happily accepted. It wasn't until now that Natalie said that Paul will walk down the aisle with Mary, to which Paul refused. He listed all of the reasons and why he doesn't want to. I was also against it because Mary has indeed not changed, and neither I nor Paul are comfortable with that setting. After some back and forth, Natalie called me and begged me to convince Paul, and said, "Please don't act insecure about this. You know how important a wedding is to a bride. Don't ruin this for me." To which I replied that I understand the importance of her wedding, but mine and Paul's discomfort is more important to us than her wedding. I said you could literally pick any other girl to Paul to walk with, yet you picked Mary. How convenient. After some continuous back and forth, Natalie and Jack tried to convince Paul to accept Mary in this occasion, to which he said no, and if it's such a deal breaker then he's stepping down as a groomsman. Anyway, now Natalie and her family are accusing me and Paul for trying to dictate what they will do at their wedding, and say we are the ones who are overstepping. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. The important part here is Paul's discomfort. This isn't just you dictating. Jack isn't being a good friend for insisting on this if it's making Paul uncomfortable. You said he's a groomsman, not the best man. That's the only scenario I could see where they want the maid of honor and best man to walk together for the flow, but it's not the case here. If it's going to ruin the wedding, Natalie needs to take a long, hard look at herself and why this is such a hill to die on for her. The lack of self-awareness on the bride's part shows a high level of egocentrism. She knows exactly what she's doing, not the a-hole. Maybe it's time to go no contact if they haven't changed. Why can't he walk with any other bridesmaid? That's what both Paul and I said. Why can't it be any other bridesmaid? We got no clear answer to that, besides the fact that it's the bride's vision to be that way. Lol, let's be honest. We know why it's the vision. Of course we do, but they wouldn't say that out loud. And they're still trying to hook those two up. If someone cannot respect my relationship, then I don't have a place for them in my life. I'm glad your boyfriend understood how messed up all this is. He needs to have a final talk with his friend. Flat out say if this is the hill he wants to die on, then their friendship is done. Explain how inconsiderate this is. Reverse it to the groom. How would he feel if someone was ignoring his relationship and trying to hook up his partner with someone else? This is friendship ending material right here, not the a-hole. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to bring my girlfriend's son along with me to my guy's night? I, 43 male, have been involved with my 42 female girlfriend for about a year and change. She has 3 kids, 20 female, 19 female, and 17 male. Her ex-husband abandoned the family almost immediately after the youngest was born. I like and get along with all 3 of her kids really well, but her son, who we'll call Jake, and I have especially formed a good connection. I've taken him out with me off-roading, fishing, and golfing. So, recently my girlfriend asked me what I was doing Saturday night, wanting to do something with me. I told her, sorry, but Saturday night is guys' night. I'm going to my friend's house with most of my other buddies and coworkers for poker night. She seemed a little annoyed, but said, fine, but then will you at least bring Jake along with you? I told her that we'd drink a good bit, and some of us smoke cigars, and we get a little rowdy and probably somewhat inappropriate. She said, well, obviously don't allow him to drink or smoke, but he should hang out with some guys being guys. He grew up without his father, and it would be good for him. But I just didn't want to bring him along. I admit that part of the reason why is because I just want to hang out with my buddies and have fun without having to worry about being a role model for Jake. But I also just think that this sort of environment isn't appropriate for a teenager. It's not horrible or anything, but our guys' nights are for adults. But my girlfriend seems to think that I should have included Jake, since she gave her approval. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. If Jake was grown, like 25 plus and wanted to go, it might be a little different to bring him along because he'd be able to drink, smoke, and probably even be able to hold his own in the crap talking that takes place on guys' nights. But he's 17. He can't drink, he can't smoke. And I'll be honest, I imagine it'd be uncomfortable for everybody involved to have a kid at a guy's night, unless he's used to hanging out with older guys and already has a feel for the kind of things that can and cannot be said when crap talking. But still would not be the a-hole in that situation too, in my opinion. Sometimes you need a break. It's not a break as in getting rest, but to get a break from your daily grind, be in a different environment, receive new input and experiences. OP may not get that if he brings the daily environment and responsibilities with them. It even goes beyond OP. Maybe the group of friends have worked up a little of trust and comfort to be like themselves and share thoughts and feelings, or act and unwind in ways they don't get to do elsewhere / everywhere. Bringing in a new element could ruin that experience for everyone else too. Not the a-hole. She's not thinking about this clearly. He is an underage kid, and you're his mom's boyfriend. It would be awkward for everyone involved. While it's okay she wants him around guys being guys, your guys' night is not a time for babysitting a teen. He gets fishing trips and other things you mentioned. Insist that this is not the event, especially because your friends aren't bringing their kids too. That would be unfair to them. It may even be unfair to Jake. It doesn't sound like the girlfriend asked Jake if he wanted to go to Opie's poker night, just that she wants Opie to take him. Most 17-year-old boys have better things to do on Saturday night, like play video games, hang out with friends, and go on dates, than sit with my mom's boyfriend and friends watching them be guys. Part of me wonders if having Jake tag along is the girlfriend's way of checking up on Opie. She wanted to do something with him. He already has plans. So she wants to know what happens at these guys' night / verify that is actually happening.